Hey, good evening. I am here. It is 1:07 a.m. on Friday, May 16th. If you were here just a few minutes ago, I did try to do like an opening like I would normally do for the stream. It was a disaster. I had some technical issues and I wasn't really prepared properly, so I kind of just wiped it. Sorry if you were here during that. We're just gonna jump right into the game that I want to play tonight. Which is Tetris Forever. I know I said I was going to do Metal Gear Solid 2 when I came back, and I still am, but that'll be in a few days. Can hear Burb? That was your adventure. Yeah, I saw. Don't get involved in cults, Karma. Play Tetris instead. Anyway, I'm back. I really hope to see if Tetris Forever includes worldwide sensation and controversial title Tetris Dinners. I've never even heard of that. Anyway, there is no category for Tetris Forever on Twitch, so I just have Tetris 99 up, because that's what the most people watch in regards to Tetris. I just got the physical edition of this when I came home from vacation on Tuesday. This is the Digital Eclipse Gold Series, which I don't know what exactly that means, but it's number 3 in the Gold Series. And yeah, I've been looking forward to this. I was waiting for the physical edition because they said that was going to happen. And yeah, here it is. Is joke referencing the joke that Peggle Dinners because you were just watching that. Oh, alright. Also, hey everyone. Karma, Ayla, how y'all doing? Welcome to Tetris Forever. Begin your journey through 40 years of Tetris history in the timelines below, or jump right into a game by pressing Y. So, here's the thing. So this collection, this is a collection of older Tetris games, some of which were not released in America. Also, really weird to see the PlayStation box in a Nintendo game. But this includes like several hours of documentaries, and if I'm not mistaken, the documentaries kind of get like Uber claimed on YouTube, so, and possibly on Twitch. So we're not going to be watching any of the documentary stuff. That's just for me. If you want to watch a very good Tetris documentary, watch Gaming Historian's History of Tetris. That's a really good hour long. It's an hour of your time worth spending. Is this like the same series as the Atari 50 thing? I think so. Yeah, they stripped for the PSVR in a Nintendo game. Gold Master Series. At Digital Eclipse, we believe classic games are the foundational art on which our industry was built, that deserve a higher class of treatment and preservation. The Gold Master Series, curated and published by Digital Eclipse, preserves and authentically restores landmark titles from gaming's history. Oh, so these are all old games. While celebrating the accomplishments of legendary designers, teams, and studios, our interactive documentary format brings archival materials, interview videos, playable games, and more into a single cohesive chronological and contextual experience, video game equivalent of a documentary film. We hope you enjoy this new approach to archival game releases and hope you look forward to future installments in the Gold Master Series from Digital Eclipse. So I'm assuming these people are the same ones that did the Atari one, and I have heard that one is excellent. The Perfect Game. A researcher at the Academy of Sciences in Moscow comes up with a new game idea, one he can't stop playing. So we could also just get the game library. Okay. Tetris Electronica 60, June 6th. So it's a bunch of old, like, PC, various other consoles, Apple II Tetris, NES Hatris, Go on the Famicom, Tetris Battle Gaiden for Japanese Super Famicom, Bombless, Super Bombless, and it includes a new mode, which is called Tetris Time Warp, which I will check that out at some other part. Title, recently played, year, platform. Is this only on Switch? I actually have no idea. The origin of Tetris. For over 40 years, the game is known as Tetris has enticed us, confounded us, and occupied our brains long after we put down the controller. It's hard to imagine a world without Tetris, but how did we get here? Okay, so there's no... alright. So these are just like little blurbs. These are actual videos. Polyominoes. Our story truly begins decades before the Tetris game was created. In 1953, mathematics professor Solomon Golomb invented the term polyominoes That's what I am. I'm polyomino, to describe two-dimensional shapes created by connecting equally sized squares. He called shapes made of 3 squares traminos, 4 squares tetraminos, and 5 squares pentaminos. Interestingly, in English, they used to refer to the 4-pieced ones as tetrads, which I believe was never an official term. What's the hand image? Okay. Okay. Fascinating new creation in mathematics. So, alright, I apologize. This might be a little dry if you're not, like, super into the history of Tetris. I love Tetris, so I'm gonna be taking my time with this and enjoying it. Obviously, again, I will not play the video clips here. Those will be saved for off-stream. Cascade. Michael is a block. No, I'm not. I'm a bird. Hey, Celine, how you doing? Pentamino puzzle games enjoyed a surge of popularity in the 1960s after the spread of Solomon Golom's research. The aim was to fit 12 unique pentamino shapes into a rectangular form without leaving any gaps. An ancient connection. Within the passage of time, I learned the true antiquity of the pentaminos. The observation that there are 12 distinctive patterns, the pentaminos, that can be formed by 5 connected stones on a Go board. The very old Japanese game is played with black and white stone markers placed on the board. It is attributed to an ancient master of that game. So, I've been watching, there's a guy on YouTube who's been playing a game called Canoodle, which is like a little, like, you gotta fit shapes into a puzzle board, and a lot of the shapes are pentamino shaped. Like that one at the bottom where it's like a square with 1 dot. I noticed that when you actually, like, look at an image or something, it kind of marks it off. So there is, like, a progression to this. Alexei Pajitnov was born in Moscow, the capital city of the Soviet Union, on April 16, 1955. His father was a writer, and his mother was a journalist who would often bring young Alexei to the Moscow Film Festival, where he was introduced to movies from around the world, a rare treat for a kid in Soviet Russia. Again, if you want to see a really good documentary on this, watch the Gaming Historian's History of Tetris video. It is excellent. Alexei was also a math prodigy who participated in various competitions and high-level mathematics courses at school. In his free time, he enjoyed math-based riddles and puzzles. One day, teenage Alexei found an interesting math puzzle at a local toy store, a set of pentamino toys. He would spend hours playing with them. Later, he would read Solomon Golom's book. After receiving his master's degree in applied mathematics from the Moscow Aviation Institute, he contemplated teaching math for a living. But fascinated by the idea of working with computers, he was soon drawn to the Dorodnitsin Computing Center at the Moscow Academy of Sciences. There, in the early 1980s, he worked on speech recognition and artificial intelligence research. The Electronica 60, sitting at Alexei's desk at his workplace, was the Electronica 60 computer. Produced by order of the Soviet Ministry of Electronic Industry, it was a clone of the PDP-11 computer that was originally introduced in 1970. That meant it was not a very powerful machine for 1984. In fact, it couldn't even display graphics, just text. Again, you know, last time I did a stream with Gyro, we were talking about old technology, and it's really cool to see these really primitive computers that they used back in the early 80s. Dorodnitsin. There's also a docudrama about it on Apple TV. I believe I've heard of that. Wonder how much that hardware is worth now. That's a good question. Alexei's computer. While actual Electronica 60 machines are exceedingly rare today, a later model from the Electronica line sits in the lobby of Tetris Incorporated in Honolulu, Hawaii. In this video, Alexei Pajitnov introduces us to the machine. Alright, well, we can't do that. Playing with computers. In their spare time... When are we actually getting into a damn game here? You know what? Don't worry about it. We're taking it slow because I'm clearly rusty right now after being gone for 8 days. In their spare time, Alexei and his co-workers enjoyed programming games on their work computers. They had dreams of being able to sell the games somehow, although that would have been extremely unlikely under the USSR's communist economic system. Alexei thought back to the Pentaminos game he had found as a teenager. Could a virtual pentamino set make for a compelling game? He started thinking about a game in which players could arrange pentaminos, but soon realized that the 5-block shapes were too complex, so he decided to use 4-block polyominoes, the tetraminos. Rather than have the player fit the shapes into a small box, like the Pentamino puzzle, Alexei hit on the idea of having the pieces fall down into a well, where the player would try to place as many of them as possible into the box by rotating them to fit together. Yeah, look at that. It's just like little text boxes. Originally, the game would be over once the well filled up, but this would happen very quickly. Additionally, Alexei noticed that if the player put blocks all the way across the well, it would block the bottom and render that area unusable. To solve this problem, Alexei made it so the game would clear any completed line to give the player more room to play. This turned out to be the last piece of the puzzle, and an addicting game was born. So yeah, you can see there, like, all the lines are filled, but they wouldn't go away. ASCII game, yep. Damn, I can't believe Tetris fought in the war. It didn't fight in the war. It did, I mean, I'm assuming this documentary is going to go over that, but it did cause some relation tension between the Soviet Union and a bunch of the other countries. Alexei named his game after the Greek word for four, tetra, and tennis, his favorite sport. Tetra plus tennis thus became Tetris. The recreation of Alexei's original version of Tetris shows how the very first version of the game was played. The game kept track of how quickly you dropped blocks and how many lines you cleared, but the concept of clearing 4 lines at once to create a high-scoring Tetris line clear would not be introduced until 1988, over 4 years later. Wait, really? I thought he came up with the idea pretty quickly, but apparently not. A detailed recreation of the original version of Tetris. The original version did not award points for completing lines. Points were awarded based on how fast players dropped their pieces into place. Increase level, decrease level, English, Russian, start, back. Oh, pressing down immediately drops it. Gameplay of the version's basis for every Tetris. Rotate placement. If you complete a line, disappears from the matrix. Points are awarded for dropping tetraminos, not for line clears. How the tetramino is in the matrix when you drop it, the more points you get. Can increase the speed of the falling tetraminos during game by pressing speed up key. You can also turn on the next display. You earn fewer points when the next tetramino is displayed, and more points when the game speed is increased. Please refer to show control menu. Select one to play recreation or a slightly later version from 85. You can also choose between green and white displays. Tetris was originally displayed in Russian. In this recreation, you could swap between Russian and English on the version select screen. Okay. You begin each game by selecting your starting speed. At any time during play, you can bring up the show controls menu. Hard drop, left and right. Increase level. What are those? What is that symbol? Is that the bumper? I think so. It's the L and R regular buttons. Okay. Yeah, there's only one rotate button. Oh, you cannot squish those in. Wow, 3 line pieces in a row. You never see that nowadays. Oh, this does erase the lines though. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Alright, we get the gist of this. Can you T-spin in this? In this one? I can almost assuredly say no, you cannot T-spin. So that'd be cool is if someone programmed with modern programming knowledge worked on the old hardware to make a version with modern Tetris mechanics like hold and stuff. I mean, it's probably doable. Never actually seen this version in motion. It's awesome to see now, yeah. But this also isn't the very first version, because this has line clears in it, clearly. Classic Tetris. Hey, Kokori, how you doing? I'm confused about the score readout, because it looks like the score went down at some point. I had like 500, and now it's back down to... Nice. Oh, there we go. That's how you change the language. Out of curiosity, how fast is 9? Oh, that is very fast. Oh my god, you can't even see him. It's interesting, though. I see what you're typing there. I see the history of the Soviet Union done to the Russian, to the Tetris theme. I am the man who arranges the blocks. Look at that. Oh no, I didn't beat my high score there. Play again. No. How do I select no? What is this? Play again. No. How do I get out of this? No. Alright. It's not letting me, like, go back to the menu. As far as it even shows the next piece. Sleepy? Yeah, I can imagine. It's early for you. Okay, bear with me here. I'm gonna figure this out. Oh, okay. It's actually bringing me back a menu when I hit that. All right. Where was I? I was right there. Clicks explains the Electronica 60 version of Tetris came together. Again, can't show the videos. We'll get Uber claimed. The more you play, the more blocky I feel. I've already drawn that karma. Now what? Alexei's colleagues at the Academy of Sciences loved playing his game, but how could he let the rest of the world know about his creation? It would have been illegal for him to sell it. Alexei put those questions aside for the time being. First, he wanted to get the game off the creaky Electronica 60 and onto IBM-compatible PCs, which were quickly becoming the global standard for home computers. It had 2 floppy disks. Look, you could kind of see in the corner there where they like had to edit the image. It has like a white outline on the tube. It's also a very interesting way of connecting the keyboard to the main PC there with like a tube cable. The teenage hacker. Around this time, Alexei met a brilliant 16-year-old student who was excelling so much in school that he often got to visit the academy, both to learn from the staff and to teach them what he knew about advanced programming languages. Alexei asked Vadim Gerasimov to port his Pascal code of Tetris to the IBM PC. By late 85, Pajitnov and Gerasimov had a version of Tetris that ran in MS-DOS. While this version was still fully constructed out of text characters, the color graphics and extended character set of the PC allowed the blocks to appear in a rainbow of colors. The display was now in English instead of Russian, which would help it spread even further around the world. Along the screen's bottom edge ran the phrase, "Play Tetris." Largely completed version of the original Tetris for the DOS operating system, ported from Pajitnov's Pascal code by Vadim Gerasimov. This version of the game, which added color graphics, was widely shared via floppy disks, but it was never officially sold in stores. Called a tube cable. I remember it as a cable used by home phones and in television. So that's a little before my time, unfortunately. Press or hold to view the game options. No. Whoa, 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 okay, hold on. Oh, I see. It puts that, yeah. I see how it works. The thing is on the bottom of the screen. Oh my god. Yeah, it's a little clunky. It's a little weird getting into the games. Like, they don't really... Done. No. How do I quit out of this? I can't actually pause this one. Ah! It doesn't matter what thing I put in. I wonder if this is DOSBox officially being used. It's a good question. All right. Well, let's just go with this. Again, I'm not going to be hearing a ton of music, and also again, no soft dropping. You either hard drop it or you don't drop it. There's also, again, only one rotation button. Again, a fun novelty to be sure. I don't think I'll be chomping at the bit to return to this after, you know, I've had my time with it. But it's cool to just have a collection of these, and some of the games that they include later look really fun. Alright, let's get the Tetris here. Hold on. I keep thinking that purple block in the corner is the next one. And it's just a statistic to show how many they've dropped. It really is a purple. Oh wait, I can't get a Tetris anyway. Hold on. No, why would you do this to me? Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this. Yeah, you kind of realize what you're taking for granted in newer Tetris when without music, holding, T-spinning, soft dropping, ghosts. FNAF-ass Tetris. That's just how they do back then. Was that the Tetris of 87? Hey, I got the high score at least. I entered N, and it still put me in again. Very confusing. Oh, there is a next at the bottom. I was missing that somehow. What? Okay. The pause... Oh, I have to hold it, I think. Yeah, there we go. Increase level, L. Oh, okay, rotate. Alright. It's a little confusing. Oh, I see. You can increase the level. It does increase the level up there. Piece on, piece off. Okay. It wants you to play Tetris, yeah. God damn, I was about to make that joke. So this is displaying in VGA mode. I'd like to see the ugly-ass CGA mode. Ugh. Why'd you widescreen that? Game settings? Oh, here it is. It was in CGA mode. We could put it in VGA mode if you want to see it. This is VGA mode. Or... It's weird that you can only increase the level and not drop it if it gets too hard. But I guess that's the kind of the point, huh? Alright. Whatever the pink and white one was. Yeah, I don't know. CGA, EGA. Doesn't look too different from the other one. Yeah, this one definitely looks the most full in terms of the well, at least. It doesn't change much with these simple graphics, yeah. Alright, we've seen enough of this one. Let's get out of here. Spreading like wildfire, the move to MS-DOS meant Tetris could now be easily spread from computer to computer. Ooh, like a virus. Difference is terrible in more detailed DOS games, yeah. A little before my time, you say, as you were looking at a retrospective on a Soviet game, yeah. Look, Tetris has been in my blood since I was born. My mom loved Game Boy Tetris, and I think that's why I like it. Even though that did come out after I was born. It's run in my family. The move to MS-DOS meant that... Okay, and it did. Pajitnov made copies for friends, and Pajitnov made copies for friends, they made copies for their friends, and so on and so on. I misread that as them referring to Pajitnov with they, them pronouns, and I'm like, doesn't he go by he, him? Tetris took on a life of its own. Soon, wherever you found a PC in Moscow, there's a good chance a Tetris floppy disk was somewhere nearby, waiting to be played. The Hungarian connection, but it was one particular copy of Tetris that changed the world. Victor Briabrin, one of the higher-ups at the Academy of Sciences, had sent a copy to his friend, the director of a computer science institute in Budapest, Hungary, called Sziki, S-Z-K-I. Tetris had escaped Moscow, but couldn't get past the Iron Curtain. Another Hungarian invention. Oh, hey! This is something I've been having a lot of exposure to lately. While Hungary was also at the time a communist country, it had adopted a more progressive stance towards international trade. This was largely thanks to the massive success of the Rubik's Cube toy, invented by Erno Rubik in Hungary in 1975, and released around the world starting in 1980. I actually just got a bunch of new Rubik's puzzles the other day. I got a treasure box that you can unscrew the top of when you solve it to put something in it. I got a 2x2 penguin puzzle, and I also got a novelty 1x1 keychain. I've been getting kind of into speed cubing the last few months. Do you see that video going around of Rubik's Cube getting solved by a machine in 0.1 seconds? No, but that doesn't surprise me. Your mom loved Puzzle Bobble. Ooh, that's a fun game. Robert Stein. Born in Hungary and living in London, England, Robert Stein was a computer entrepreneur who ran a company called Andromeda Software. Andromeda would license computer games being created in Hungary to publishers around the world. On a trip to a computer science institute, Sziki, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, in June 1986, Stein happened to see Tetris being played on the PC. That's a photo, alright. And that's a photo they felt was good enough to put in this game. Notable and quotable, this company had a lab where they were developing all sorts of things, and they wanted to show me scientific, sophisticated products. But then I looked over in a corner and said, "What the hell is this jumping up and down the IBM PC screen?" They said, "Oh, it's just a game." Robert Stein, The New York Times, 1988. There's gonna be grandma someday saying, "Oh, dearie, I loved Elden Ring at your age." Oh, yeah, no. Vinny Vinesauce just turned 40 the other day, and he was talking about how we're all gonna be like old people in the retirement homes playing Melee and Pokemon in our 80s and 90s. So, Ayla, actually, to follow up on the Rubik's Cube machine thing, there's actually a Bluetooth thing that you can buy that can actually solve certain Rubik's Cubes for you. I don't know why you would need that, but they sell it. I think the GAN company sells it. What the fuck is Pokemon going to be like in 50 years? Good question. Hey, Nick Dragon, thank you so much for the raid! Dragon Monk Raid, hey! Give you a shout out. You have a 2 in your name, so it's gonna mess up my PNG tuber, but... Or are you streaming? Let's make a deal! Robert Stein got in touch with the Moscow Academy of Sciences, inquiring about licensing Tetris. Weeks later, after much negotiation with the Academy, Pajitnov was able to send it back a terse response. Yes, we are interested. We would like to have this deal. What the Academy had meant to convey by that message is that they wanted to sit down and attempt to hammer out a contract with Stein. What Stein took from that message was that the deal was done and that eventual contract would just be a formality. After the message, he immediately began to sub-license Tetris to publishers around the world, even though he didn't have the rights yet. Tomorrow, the world. Pajitnov's creation and Alexei Pajitnov himself were about to fully break through the Iron Curtain and emerge onto the world stage. But the Tetris story doesn't end here. In fact, it was just getting started, as another game developer was about to discover Alexei's game. Tetris breaks free. Old Republic, oh nice. What is this? Oh, is this the Rubik's Cube video? Purdue students demolished the Guinness World Record for fastest Rubik's Cube solving robot, solving the puzzle cube in just 0.103 seconds. Faster than the blink of an eye. Oh, this is like a professional grade machine. Team says they could probably go even faster with the cube. The cube is the holdup, considering it will disintegrate if they go faster. They say they had to reconstruct the cube with stronger pieces so it could handle the machine. I am loath to show Twitter, but we'll watch this real quick here. Wow. Oh yeah, that. Oh my God! Look at that! Look at the cubes! Look at the pieces. That thing must be loosened up to the lightest possible tension level. Ah, why is it so loud? Hey, good on these guys. Good on them. Blasting it. Hey, everyone. Oiled for your pleasure. Look, you joke about that. That's what professional cubers do. I can't say we, but I do. My cube is lubed up. There is a whole line of lubricants for professional speed cubes. Cosmic, Dignitas, Veritas, they all have like fun names. Really, really like out there sounding names. And there are multiple types of lube. There's lubes that make it faster, lubes that make it more controllable. A good Rubik's Cube is in fact oiled. Tetris breaks free. The Tetris bit, Alexei Pajitnov's brilliant game had been discovered, and the race was on as video game publishers around the world competed for the rights to publish this Russian marvel in their home countries. Hank Rogers. Born in 1953, Dutch-born Hank Rogers moved in with his family from Amsterdam to New York City when he was 11. After attending Stuyvesant, I don't know, high school, he had entered the University of Hawaii, where he and his friends from the Alternative Realities Reaction Group of Hawaii, to organize sessions of a then-new tabletop game called Dungeons & Dragons. What happened to the Burb? He's right here. Don't worry. Hey, Furry Toho. Playing those two-whoos. Alternative Realities Recreation Group of Hawaii. And then it turns out they're just there to play Dungeons & Dragons. You know what? Hank is a true nerd. Hank photographs his reflection in 1970 in New York City as an assignment for his photography class at Stuyvesant High School. Gotta call it a night and go nap? Alright, Nick Dragon, thank you for the raid. I'll take good care of your community. Thank you. He certainly is a photogenic man. And I will say, he looks pretty good now for his age. I saw a recent interview with him. And he's a very graceful ager. The gem business. Hank with his father, Jerry Rogers, in Bangkok, Thailand in 1982. His project was to design and build high-temperature electronic ovens that went up to 1900 degrees Celsius to heat-treat rubies and sapphires to adjust color and clarity, a process known as burning. I think most things you would put in an oven that hot would be burning. So, I don't know what the, I don't know why that's the official term for that. Like, you could feel the 80s in that room. Is he an actor from Star Wars? No, we're gonna get to that. He's important to the history of Tetris. The beginning of Japanese RPGs. Hank Rogers moved to Japan in 1976 and began working for his father's gemstone business. Around 82, he noticed that stores were beginning to sell games for personal computers, and he wanted to get in on what seemed to be an exciting new business. He began developing a role-playing game, something that existed in the US but was not yet popular in Japan. Japanese RPG shows an American man. He's not American, he's Dutch. He just lived in America. I made a conscious decision to develop a game type that existed in the US but not Japan. There were no RPGs, computer or paper, to speak of in the country at the time, so I decided to take the chance and do one. Didn't speak or read Japanese back then, so it was a total reverse engineer of titles I enjoyed back home. Hank Rogers, Edge Online, 2013. The Black Onyx. Hank established Bulletproof Software, aka BPS, in Japan on August 10th, 1983. He developed the Black Onyx, the first role-playing game created in Japan, in late 1983. Sales were slow at first, but once Hank personally demonstrated the game to the editors of various computer magazines, the Black Onyx ended up selling over 150,000 copies, a massive amount for the time, making it the #1 game in Japan in 1984. Wow! I didn't know any of this. This was not in the Tetris documentaries I've seen. Let me just...
I decided I'm gonna make it.
Okay, yeah, no, we can't. We can't. Again, the videos get uber claimed. I don't want to ruin this. After the success of the Black Onyx, Hank took a step back from game design and concentrated on expanding and growing Bulletproof Software, and looking for games from around the world to publish in Japan. Needy named it after a precious stone, being a gemstone guy, yeah. Hank and other members of BPS show the Black Onyx at the NEC Personal Computer Fair, held in Tokyo in late 1984. This is interesting to me. I thought Bulletproof Software was formed specifically for Tetris when the Game Boy version was made, but apparently not. Go. Dating back over 2,500 years to ancient China, Go, properly known as Ego in Japanese, is a board game in which each player places black or white stones on a board in an attempt to encircle and thus remove their opponent's stones. Hank Rogers' father, an expert Go player, had taught his son the game, and Hank was now quite adept at it as well. This game is in Clubhouse Games, if you have that on Switch, which is getting an update for Switch 2 to have Game Share. For some reason I forgot they did the Game Boy Tetris, and my first mind was, oh yeah, the Yoshi game, yeah. The Yoshi's Cookie guys. Young Hank plays Go. Okay. Hank Rogers played his first Go tournament at the age of 8 in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Germany. He was the youngest player in the tournament. I wonder what you write down there, because he's got a pen in his hand. Famicom. Nintendo released its first game console, the Family Computer, or Famicom, in 1983. 2 years later, it had become extremely popular in Japan, and Nintendo was planning to release it in the US as the Nintendo Entertainment System. Japan's top computer software makers saw the writing on the wall, and began seeking permission from Nintendo to make Famicom games. Played so much SNES Yoshi's Cookie when you were younger. I never had the console ones, I only had the Game Boy one, but I loved Game Boy Yoshi's Cookie. And then I got Game Boy Yoshi, and I'm like, this game is awful compared to Yoshi's Cookie. Why is Yoshi's Cookie so much better? This did release on the PlayStation, so PlayStation could see the NES stuff. I mean, to be fair, Sony seems to be less reserved about letting other consoles show up on their systems. Unless they cut this part. I don't know. I mean, they didn't cut any of the PlayStation stuff out of this version. Why is that Game Station so nominal? What? This has the disc system at the bottom. Family Computer Disc System. This did not come out in '83. That's much later. Yeah, Controller 2 did not have a start and select button. It just had a microphone on it. Also, just realized there's no way to put cartridges in while you have the disc system on. I thought you could use both. Fun fact that the Famicom disk system actually took batteries. It could connect to the wall unit to the power or take batteries to run. Initially, Nintendo rebuffed BPS's attempt to produce a Go game for the Famicom. I don't know what happened to my voice there, but Hank was undeterred after his wife Akemi discovered in a magazine article that Nintendo's president Hiroshi Yamauchi played Go. Hank sent a fax to Yamauchi asking if he wanted to meet and discuss his idea. The next day, he had a meeting with Nintendo's president. Shall we play a game? Hey, Gyro. Borb. It's not what I meant to do. I meant to do this one. The deal is Go. Yamauchi told Hank that Nintendo would pay BPS about $300,000 to create a video game version of Go for the Famicom. It was going to be difficult to get the 8-bit Famicom machine to calculate the complex gameplay moves that would be required of a computer opponent, but Hank had a plan. That plan was to mute himself while he burped into the microphone. Ugh. I also like, it shows which ones you haven't watched everything in yet, so I know which ones to go back to later. You made this board, PNG Tuber. Yes, you did, Kokori. And it's one of my favorites. Except I couldn't use it during Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. For some reason, having that game running ruined Godot. And PNG Tuber Plus wouldn't run this correctly. Getting fat from your mere presence, huh? I almost called you Karma because I feel like that's the exact same thing he would say, too. It's all of you together. You all fill me with such joy and calories. Micro Go. In 1984, an expert British Go player named Alan Scarf released the Micro Go, a Go game for the Commodore 64 computer. Since the C64 was similar in power to the Famicom, Hank got in touch with Scarf and asked him to come to Japan to port his game to Nintendo's platform. Scarf lived with the Rogers family during that time and created the Famicom game in 9 months. Pass, resign, captive. Looks a little small for a Go board. Is it only that many spaces? Boomf. Hehehe. Computer Go pioneers. Hank with 2 pioneers of computer Go games. On the left is Micro Go creator Alan Scarf. On the right is Bruce Wilcox, who created the first 19x19 Go game on the IBM PC, which BPS licensed and released for the NEC PC 9801 computer in Japan. Dudes being dudes, playing Go. Well, Micro Go, yeah. Those systems couldn't handle the AI, couldn't handle doing the AI for the full board, yeah. Oh, that's why it's called Micro Go. Okay. Wow. I'm an idiot. Temporary setback. Even though BPS's Go game took place on a 9x9 board rather than a full-size 19x19 board, it was nothing short of a miracle that Scarf was able to get the Famicom to play any version of Go at all. But the famously difficult-to-please Yamauchi was unimpressed and declined to publish the game. However, he did allow Hank Rogers to publish it himself if he paid Nintendo 100 yen for every copy he sold. Okay, so just out of curiosity, how much is that in 1987 dollars? 1987 yen to USD. No, not... That's not what I meant. In 1987, not that much. In 1987, dollar yen historical reference rates from Bank of England. A little less than $1. Looks like back in 1987, the average was about 150 for $1. So it would be about like 75 cents for every copy he sold that he had to pay Nintendo. Which, I mean, you know, that adds up after 300,000 copies, but there you go. Ego, Kyo Roban Taikyoku. On April 14th, 1987, BPS released that game title, Go 9-line board game. It was the first Go game for the Famicom, and for the next 2 years, the only Go game for the Famicom. VPS sold 150,000 copies of the game, but more importantly, Hank Rogers now had a friendship with Nintendo's president and a license to create more Famicom software. Oh, you could like it. Oh, that's cool. Hey, look at the whole box here. They really put the work in. Oh my god, that guy has no legs and giant balls. Six polys. Watched something a while ago about how long it took for a good computer version of Go to be made. Quads. Computer Opponent. Magazine advertisements for Ego featured a series of clay models playing games of Go against a Famicom system. The first advertisement, from May 1987, it's a month before I was born, showed the Famicom Disk System floppy disk version. The next two, from June and July, that's the year I was born and the year after I was born, show the cartridge version, which was released later. Those are cute. Very primitive clay models, but very cute. Hey, N1C509, thank you for following. I very much appreciate it. There's a ball guy. Tetris story in home gaming consoles begins with Go. Bulletproof Software's Hank Rogers got a license to create Famicom, blah blah blah, we know this already. First console was based on the ancient board game Go. It was based on Micro Go, released, okay, it uses a 9x9, for the Famicom could not handle full size, yada yada. Game makes you feel like you're playing with slimes, what? Oh, you could save your game on this one. Let's see if I can remember how to play this. Oh, what? What am I doing? What is this? Oh, I'm selecting my level. Okay. Is there no way to change the language here? The rewind option. Wait, is it impossible for me to lose this? Because you only need to get 5, don't you? Or not? I swore it was just get 5 in a row. Hey, Zinji Monk, finally go. Let's fucking go. Reminds me of Goemon. Hey, can you not do diagonal? You can. Hold on. Oh, this is the actual instruction manual. Yeah, this is gonna be all in Japanese. Oh, that's a cute illustration. Oh, no, it's you have to entrap your opponent. That's how this works. I'm thinking... I must be thinking of a different version of Go. Just like Splatoon. Oh, what, like table turf battle? Yeah, I must have not, I don't know. Huh. Atari. Yeah, you could tell the Famicom's definitely like. You could tell the Famicom's kind of struggling to compute the moves here. I'm sure there are people who spend dozens of hours in this. Oh, absolutely. What just happened? Oh, you gotta completely encircle it. Okay. I think. Yeah, I don't remember this being the rules of Go. I thought the rule of Go was you just had to get 5 in a row. Can't put it there. Can't put it there either. Instruction unclear. Famicom is now on fire. This reminds me of Suikoden. I don't know why. What? Fun fact, there was a chess game for the Atari 2600. Each difficulty allowed the AI to process their moves for longer. The highest difficulty allowing for up to 20 minutes per move. Oh my god. Oh, wait, now I can just put that one there. But chose not to. Alright, if they already have a circle, you can't do it. I know this is gripping gameplay, don't worry. We'll move on. Wow, I've only been playing this game for an hour, huh? Ah, son of a bitch. This is quickly becoming a situation that I can't get out of here. He's saying Atari when I place that, which means something. That means victory, doesn't it? Read about the Atari chess game, fascinating. It also is the most expensive Atari game at $40 in 1979 money. Oh wait, no, it's stupid. He's just gonna capture that. Or not. Hello, Chester's. This is... No, Chester was last week, or the week before. You missed him. He came by the day after you brought him up. Yeah, you missed him. He was here. He was playing Mario Kart. Ah. Oh, how the turntables. This could be bad. Hold on. Karma, you don't just ask people to be your friend. That's weird. Why can't I put something there? What? Huh? So I can't put anything down if it's surrounded already. When Atari Chess is thinking, it flashes a seizure-inducing series of flashing colors. Imagine that flashing for minutes at a time. Ugh. Like, I put that there because I could capture that. Alright, I'm beginning to understand how this game works, but at the same time, it feels very hard to get the grasp of. I think that's pretty much it. This music is a bop. It's banging. What just happened? I have no idea what that was. If Game of Ego ends when both players decide that it's over, if both players select pass in the menu bar, consecutive turns, the game will end and the players capture the most territory will win. One player wishes to give up, they could select give up, circled in green. Anytime during a game, press and hold B and press plus to save a replay. You can then load this replay mode, scroll to each move in the game in sequence. Oh, wow, that's interesting. If you surround an enemy stone with your own, you'll capture a move for the board. Capture the most territory on the board by surrounding it with your stones. Okay. Alright. Alright, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Oh, alright, so anything you stole on the board afterwards is given to your opponent? Huh? I'm so confused by this. What is Chester based on again? He's a bull and a moose. Or, not a bull moose. He's a deer and a moose. He's a deuce. D-O-O-S-E. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that. Meanwhile, in London, just as Hank Rogers was releasing his Go game, Robert Stein of Andromeda Software was closing a deal to license the Tetris rights to the US game publisher Spectrum Holobyte and to the European publisher Mirrorsoft. He signed contracts with both companies, even though he had not yet secured the rights to the game from the Academy of Sciences. Hank meets Tetris at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show, held in Las Vegas in early January 1988. Hank Rogers saw Tetris for the first time. It was the MS-DOS version of the game, programmed by Spectrum Holobyte, which the company was planning to release in just a few weeks' time. Hank waited in line to play this odd-looking new game, then got back in line 3 more times, eventually setting the high score. I was fascinated that a game as simple as that could keep my attention for so long. Its lure reminded me of a Japanese board game that my father taught me to play called Go, which is black and white stones played in a 19 by 19 grid. It looks simple and is incredibly deep. It was at that very Consumer Electronics Show in 1988 that my adventure began. I knew it would be a hit, and I knew that I needed to be part of it. Imagine if Nintendo released something like this. They would never include ROMs in another thing as like little bonuses like this ever again, yeah. The first commercial release of Tetris was the MS-DOS version of the game programmed by Spectrum Holobyte. Its UK sister company Mirrorsoft published it in Britain on January 27, 1988, and Spectrum Holobyte, published it in the US on January 29th. The Soviet Challenge. Best Entertainment, Action Strategy, Original Game Achievement, Critics' Best Choice, Consumer Software, Software Publishers Association. IBM PC or Tandy 100. Discovered the mystery of the 4 squares in Tetris. This game of skill was conceived by 2 Soviet programmers. Time is of the essence as you try to rotate and flip missing pieces to fit as they descend from the top of the screen. Make the pieces fit precisely with the others to form a complete row with no blank spaces. The quicker you position each piece and allow it to drop into place, the better your score. Look at this. IBM, PC, CGA, EGA, Mac 2, Mac 1. As complete rows are formed, they automatically disappear from the screen. When 10 rows have been successfully removed, you advance to a higher level and the pieces descend faster. Therefore, the further you get, the more challenging Tetris becomes. This addictive challenge brought to you from the USSR. 10 difficulty levels, 5 heights to start from, replay last game option, randomly generated pieces. These features included in the Commodore 64 version. Scoring system with top 10 recorded. Mode to preview next shape to fall. Statistics screen shows a running total of times a particular shapes appeared. Help screen. Beautiful background graphics. Additional features on Mac 1 and 2, Apple II GS, and Amiga and Atari ST. 6-player tournament mode, advanced player mode, Russian music for mood setting. A whole 256K of RAM needed. Apple II GS, yeah. Never hear about the Tandy computers. I only know about them because of Homestar Runner. Spectrum Holobyte leaned heavily into the game's Russian origins when it designed its version of Tetris. Box looked like a Soviet Union flag, with the yellow hammer and sickle design on a red background. Game's title was rendered in Cyrillic script, and the central visual element was St. Basil's Cathedral, the iconic Moscow building. The game itself was full of similar imagery. The Soviet Challenge revealed that this early advertisement for Tetris that ran in computer magazines in mid-'88 portrayed Alexei's innocent puzzle game as a Soviet mission to confound the American public and create an addiction so strong we can't resist. The Soviet Challenge revealed. The setting, Moscow. The place, the USSR Academy of Scientists. The mission, to confound the American public. The scheme, to create an addiction so strong we can't resist. The motive, to determine the ultimate winner. Decide who, once and for all, who's best. The vehicle, Tetris. The time, now. I think it's Tetris, the most addictive thing I've ever seen since Shanghai. Jack Warner, The Atlanta Journal. Available on most machine formats. Tetris invades America. Spectrum Holobyte's next Tetris ad, which ran in computer magazines in early '89, placed Tetris alongside the famed Bolshoi Ballet and Stolichnaya Vodka as one of the 3 greatest things to come out of the USSR. Indulge yourself in this latest export to the West. Don't miss the opportunity to experience this intriguing game, which was designed and programmed in the Soviet Union. The reviewers love it, and you will too. If you never tasted the smoothness of Stolichnaya, made from rich grain and distilled in the centuries-old manner, makes it the finest Russian vodka. The Bolshoi Ballet may not be your choice of entertainment, but there would surely be an appreciation for the exceptional talent, style, and grace of the artists. Over the next few months, Spectrum Holobyte and Mirrorsoft will release versions of Tetris for the many different computer platforms, including the C64, Apple II, Amstrad CPC, BBC Micro, MSX, ZX Spectrum, and later the Macintosh and Atari ZX. I watched a little too much Ashens to not say ZX. Tandys were the killer machines of their day, with 16 colors and AGY sound as standards. Most PCs were still only 4-color CGA and speaker beeps. Using propaganda playfully is absolutely wild, yeah, back then. They didn't think twice. Why not my stars name-dropping Shanghai, yeah. Atari ST, color mono. As in Alexei Pageantnov's original version, points are awarded for dropping tetromino pieces more quickly, not for line clears. we're going with the Tandy graphics. Tetris was invented by a 30-year-old Soviet researcher named Alexei Pajitnov, who currently works at the Computer Center Academy Soft, the USSR Academy of Sciences in Moscow. The original program was an 18-year-old Vladimir. Why is it so quick? Also, let me switch this back to original. Ashens is the reason you bought a Vectrex. Oh, really, Jar? I didn't know that. Try it there. Sounds like someone blowing a raspberry. Oh, the sound? Yeah. Now this I'm used to. Not this, though. Oh, boy. That's a little too quick. Okay. Top 10 comrades? Oh, my God. I wonder what that option meant. Oh, again, no soft dropping. Hard dropping only. Let's see. The rewind symbol allows you to play a game with the same configuration of garbage used in the previous game. It's like the speed of the falling tetramino and height of the... Oh, okay. Alright. Again, only one spin button. Boss mode. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so soft dropping hasn't been invented yet. No pocket either. So this version of Tetris, essentially this is you don't want your boss to see you playing it mode. So you press a certain button, and it actually just it brings up this like fake revenue screen, kind of like a silly pause screen. When I made your game for the DOS Game Jam, it had a boss key too. Okay, so again, you could up the level, but you can't do anything. There's no sound in this version? There was a noise. A noise. No soft drop, no next piece. No, next piece is here. There it is. There's no hold. But like you play these and you realize, wow, we are really spoiled in modern Tetris. There's so many quality of life upgrades to the series that have come out. And of course, the randomizer is completely random in these earlier ones, so... This interface for inputting keys is a little weird, since obviously there's no keyboard on the Switch. Having just the virtual keyboard come up would have been nice, but like obviously it's meant to emulate putting the characters in one by one, so it doesn't really work that way. Find the modern Tetris rules fascinating. All random, there's no bag yet. You were so spoiled by modern Tetris. This is the version you started with. PCs didn't ship with sound hardware. Yeah. Old PCs didn't have travel either, so they couldn't read 2 keystrokes at a time. Okay, pretty standard stuff. Interesting that the next piece thing is invisible. Also, apparently the next piece thing gives you less points if you have it on with the earlier versions. The thing is, modern Tetris, it's not that it's necessarily harder or easier. I mean, it is easier to an extent. It's really based more on, you know, using the advanced techniques that the series has now, so it requires a different type of skill. than like these old Tetris games do. This definitely requires much better reflexes when you get close to the top of the screen. See, like that just completely stuck there. I got a Tetris finally, so... Also, these colors are, there's something, alright. Well, it's easier. It's also more fair, so it's more of a skill issue, which is valid for score attack. First Tetris was guessing maybe the DSiWare one. That one feels too late. I remember playing a version of Tetris earlier than that. Really? My first version of Tetris was the Nintendo NES version and the Game Boy, which we got at the exact same time. I think Tetris, Super Mario Brothers, and Sesame Street Big Bird's Speak and Spell, or whatever it's called, were my first... like actual video games as a kid. Which, by the way, if you didn't hear, Sesame Street workers have unionized. Very happy for them. Ooh, this is the ugliest version. The worst timeline. Okay, so hitting L just switches the background, so you can see all the fun locations. Oh, I think it's also making it faster. It's making the level go up. Yeah, it stopped after a certain point. Game date, Lennon Stadium. Okay, cool. Cool. Enter Elorg. With Tetris now unsealed, Robert Stein desperately needed to close up his contract with the Academy, but negotiations became more complicated in February 1988 as another Soviet organization, Elektrono-Orgotechnika, or Elorg for short, entered the discussion, asserting that it had a monopoly on the import and export of computer software in Russia. In May, Stein and Elorg finally signed an agreement. Tetris Apple II. Later in '88, Spectrum Holobyte released a version of Tetris for the Apple II, which had initially been released in 1977. Okay, so it's the same box. Game speed gradually... Okay, this is pretty much probably going to be the same thing, just slightly different looking. Monitor color, monochrome green. We'll just stick with color for this. Screen mode original. Display background name. Toggle white pieces. Toggle sound. Boss mode is included in this as well. May have had a Famicom Tetris in that bootleg collection of Famicom games you had as a kid, but you wouldn't have known how to play it. Apple II doesn't support key down, so I don't know how this is going to work. That is blurry. Is that an accurate representation of what the screen looked like? I do like the fact that they have like the curved display, because that is very... That's accurate. I am old enough to know about that. 1977, baby. Oh god, that kind of distorts the pieces, though. I'm not a big fan of that. Actually, that doesn't look right either. Whoa, okay, hold on. This does not look right. Is that really what the pieces look like in this version? You could barely tell where they're supposed to go. That looks like there's a gap between those pieces. There isn't. White pieces. Boss mode. It's just an empty prompt. The pieces are just randomly colored. which is interesting. Or there we go. We could switch white off. Okay. Boop. Okay, wait. Did I miss something? Hold on. Y display help. Toggle white pieces. Toggle sound. Up is increased level in this one. Yeah. You know, I guess you play this in an office. You're listening to office banter in the background to kind of fill in the blank spots here. Okay, now they're not white anymore. Well, now, like, some are, but some aren't. Again, I'm not too concerned here because we're probably not revisiting these versions anytime soon. It is weird that B is the only rotate button on this controller, but then A is still confirm. It's kind of throwing me off when I entered the games here. Also, again, it does not matter if you say N for the play again. It just takes you back to the... Well, that actually reboots it. The other ones would just start it over anyway. Okay. Cool, I guess. Game data's been saved. Dubious choices here. I know it's super past this, but when did they start being super strict about what color pieces had to be and stuff? I think that wasn't until Tetris Company was formed, which was like well into the, I think, the GBA era. Because there's still GBA, there's GBA Tetris games that use the wrong colors as opposed to modern games. Hey Ephraim, this is Tetris Forever. It's like an interactive documentary on Tetris. BPS gets Tetris. True to his word, Hank Rogers wanted to get in on the Tetris craze. Gilman Louis, CEO of Spectrum Holobyte, agreed to license to BPS the rights to Tetris for Japanese computer formats, as well as the game console rights for Japan. But Louis found out the next day that Mirrorsoft had already licensed the home game rights to Atari Games, which had a home gaming subsidy called Tengen. Blasteroids. Atari didn't even pay any money for the home game rights to Tetris. It simply traded Mirrorsoft the rights to create home versions of an Atari game called Blasteroids, the sequel to the outer space shooter Asteroids. In exchange, it got not only the home game rights, but also the rights to release a Tetris arcade game in the US. Blasteroids. 2001's Tetris World cemented it, yeah. That's also when the, but the super rotation system wasn't fully cemented in until after 2005, I think. Because Tetris DS still has a weird version of that. That's not completely done right. Tetris goes to Japan. Hank Rogers was disappointed that he couldn't get all the Tetris rights he wanted. But he did get the rights to create versions of Tetris for Japanese computers. Since Tengen was only planning on releasing its home version of Tetris for the NES in the US, Hank was able to get Atari to grant him the rights to produce a version for the Famicom in Japan. Tetris, BPS. On November 18th, 1988, BPS released versions of Tetris for 8 different Japanese computer formats, including the PC-88, MSX2, X68000, and others. The packaging was similar to what Spectrum Holobyte had used for the US versions, with a red and yellow hammer and sickle design, reminiscent of the Soviet flag. Oh, that's where that text came. That's where that font came from. The old font. Single, double, triple Tetris. BPS's version of Tetris had some unique features. The player had 3 lives and lost one every time the well filled up with pieces. But the most impactful innovation was the creation of the signature Tetris line clear, scoring more points by clearing 4 lines at once with an I tetramino. This changed the way players approached the game by incentivizing them to create a well that an I tetramino could fit into. Excuse me. Love how that version looks, yeah. Again, cannot play the videos if you're just joining, because they will get Uber claimed. BPS Tetris magazine ad. In Japan, the first Tetris ad from Bulletproof Software told players that they were missing out on a game that had already taken over Europe and America. Japan, it said, was next in the list of countries that would discover the fun of Tetris. This pain is a pleasure. Hank Rogers himself stars in this Tetris Japanese advertisement, gnawing on a tetramino piece in apparent frustration. Text of the ad states the frustration players feel when playing the game eventually adds up to a feeling of enjoyment. Yo, those look yummy. Those look like Jell-O blocks. Hank, you gotta bite harder, man. MSX ROM cartridge ad. While this version of Tetris for MSX computers was released on floppy disk on November 18th, 1988, the platform also supported games on cartridge. This advertisement from the September 89 issues of Japanese gaming magazines let players know that a ROM cartridge version of Tetris would be released on August 25th, 1989 for MSX. ROM disc, 6,800 yen. 6,800 yen. Wow, that's a lot of money, especially by 1980 standards. That's like close to $70. A little less than 70. Tetris, Sega Arcade. In early December 1988, Sega released an arcade version of Tetris in Japan. This was the first version of Tetris to explode in popularity in Japan, and various gameplay tweaks that Sega's designers created for this version are still in use today. That's, this version is, the same one on Genesis that never released, but did exist, that, like, ROMs of exist. This one is playable, right? I don't know. I don't think so. The arcade one, I don't think so. The flyer for Sega's arcade version of Tetris. Tetris arcade flyer. So yeah, there was a Sega Genesis version of this as well, but it was never officially released, but the game was finished and cartridges existed. So Sega did re-release this later, officially licensed, on some of their mini consoles. Tetris Famicom. On December 22nd, 1988, Bulletproof Software released Tetris for the Famicom. It was designed similar to BPS's computer versions, with 3 lives and stages that cleared after a certain number of lines were reached. This was the first home console version of Tetris to be released anywhere. 'Tis the season for Tetris. First ad of the Famicom version put a Christmas spin on things, with tetraminos falling from the sky, like snowflakes. That looks very, I don't know whose art style that is, but it looks very familiar. That looks like a very popular manga artist style. Grimbos. Sega Tetris is good stuff, that's a shame. I don't know if it's here, I don't think so. Retailers had only placed 40,000 orders for the Famicom version, and Hank Rogers once again went to Nintendo for help. As Hank recalls it, Nintendo's president asked his top game designer, Shigeru Miyamoto, if Tetris was a good game. Yes, said Miyamoto, because everybody in the company is staying late to play it. Nintendo agreed to provide marketing support, and BPS eventually sold 2 million copies of Tetris. Now that Tetris was on a game console in the living room, it could be more of a game for the whole family. Kids can even beat their parents at it. This January '89 advertisement features Hank Rogers along his real-life son, Michael. That's cute. I was just watching the Game Master bits from Yu Yu Hakusho a few hours ago, because I was like, how did that part of the show go again? Tetris makes its counterattack. A February 1989 advertisement for the Famicom version continues the Tetris for Kids messaging, showing a young boy in his bedroom being buried in tetraminos. You can certainly feel that way sometimes. It's a Captain N level shit happening right here. So this isn't Tengen Tetris, this is a completely different Famicom Tetris. Tetris with Famicom lets players score more points based on how many lines they clear and is broken up into stages of 25 lines each. This version of the game used an early control scheme in which you rotate Tetrameter pieces with directional buttons and hard drop by pressing a button. Use the controls menu to configure the controls however you like. Ooh, I don't know. They aired that on TV some time ago. I was like, what the fuck? When did this random streaming channel air Yu Yu Hakusho? I remember it aired on Sci-Fi for a while when they had Anna Mondays. This is a bit of an ear-grating version of that song. Okay, so down rotates the pieces here. Up, down to rotate piece, move left, move right. Button A, hard drop. Can rewind on this one. Button remapping. Gameplay only. Gameplay and menus. Okay, well, we're not going to remap. I'm going to just play with the regular control scheme here. I want to see how good I can be at this. So, A, hard drops. The interesting thing is you can't rotate near a wall in this version. The game actually, like, stopped. The game just doesn't let it happen. They're already fucking it up. It's definitely the most playable version of this game so far. I'll say that. Yeah, it definitely feels like hitting down should be dropping the pieces and not rotating them. It's weird. It's like the controls are reversed from how you'd want them to be. Ooh, that noise is a little rough. This song is in Super Tetris 3. Sounds like terrible controls, yeah. Oh my god. Can we speed that up a little bit? Oh, that well is really short, too. Oh, no! Okay, yeah. Oh, that's right, you get multiple lives as well. I mean, I could definitely see this being addictive back then. Like, this definitely has the, enough of the appeal. Oh my god. This is extremely slow. Zah. Wish TGM had lives. I saw a really funny... Oh my god, I gotta find it. Hold on. It's on Blue Sky. I saw a really funny edit of the TGM1 logo today. And I was like, truly, this is the most brutal Eureka game out there. Waffle House. When you think about it, The Absolute and Terror Instinct are absolutely subtitles that could apply to Waffle House, as well as Tetris. I remember playing this on the NES bootleg cartridge 260 in one game. Really? Also, hey DJ Amiote, how you doing? Amiote? Amiote? I don't know how to pronounce that. Feel free to correct me. Hello. Okay, wait a minute. What are the controls again? ZL for rewind, really? That's a very slow rewind. Second one? I don't remember. Was that Amiot? Yes. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. No! I messed that up. I was looking at the chat. That, however, was all on me. Now I have to wonder, does it stay at 18 lines on Another Life? Nope, you gotta start the level over. Let's see if I can do this on the max difficulty here. Stop with these. You really get no time to adjust. Stop Tetris 99, but I got sad I missed out on getting themes for the games I like. Really? I'm still missing one theme in that game. I am missing one theme because they've never redone the week. They did it once where you get like second chances. And they have yet to do that event again. There's three T blocks in a row. That's cool. I had a good setup there, and I fucked it up. So we have some themes are permanent, but not all. Even some that released way after T99 launched, like the Xenoblade 1 remake. Yeah? None of them are permanent. You have to be active for the event. The only ones that are permanent are the Mario and... I'm just gonna restart this. The only ones that are permanent are the ones that were, like, built in, like the Mario and Donkey Kong ones. Some of them can be received with tickets. Wait, really? No, the ones with tickets, the only ones with tickets that you could get are, like, Mario, Donkey Kong, and Zelda, which were just there when the game got updated. I just realized the start of this song is the opening to Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. Ah! You think you're used to the controls, and then you're not. Ooh. Oh, it's a completely different layout now. Oh, the rotation doesn't work the same either. Yep. Some themes like Fire Emblem and Scarlet and Violet are available with tickets. Why? So why is that one Kirby game not available with tickets? Why did I put the wrong place? Okay. We got this shit on lock now. We're doing this. We're actually beating one of these. Gotta, like, readjust your brain every move. Got it. There we go. There's a credit screen. Oh, I'm so happy I did this. And a Vinny emote? Yeah, Kermit, please. Nice job, Kermit. Thank you. Let them go. And there they go. They're gone. Da. Oh, and that just immediately puts you back in there. On round 0. Yeah, again, weird controls aside, this version's pretty fun. I could definitely see this taking Japan by storm. Interestingly, I don't think America never got this version of the game. We only got the Tengen and Nintendo versions. Still didn't get top score, though. Didn't even get close to a top score. Alright, let's move on here. Tengen Goes Rogue. The Tetris story took a dramatic twist in December of 1988. The game publisher Tengen was set to release Tetris with Nintendo's approval for the NES in the US, but it made surprising announcement that it would cease doing business with Nintendo and would release Tetris without their approval. Spectrum, Holobyte, Microsoft, and BPS were already making lots of money off Tetris, but the story was not over. Nintendo was about to enter the fray, and it would change Tetris forever. Tetris Mania. Business is war. While the rights to Tetris seemed to be all sewn up, a new type of game machine was about to be released, and everyone's desperate to land the handheld Tetris rights. Nintendo launched its Famicom console in the US as the Nintendo Entertainment System by 1988. By 1988, Nintendo Mania was in full swing. Nintendo had sold 10 million NES consoles and captured over 80% of the gaming market. NES was not just the hottest thing in video games, but across the entire toy industry. We all know and love this. I built a Lego one on stream several years ago. Summer CES. The game industry headed to Chicago in the summer of 1988. Hey, home of the new Pope. For the Consumer Electronics Show. It was there that Nintendo of America's president, Minoru Arakawa, and its senior vice president, Howard Lincoln, got hooked on playing Atari's version of Tetris. They knew that Tengen would release the game for the NES that year, but secretly, they were thinking about something else. At this time, Nintendo was preparing to release its next game machine, a portable system called Game Boy. They knew that the simple graphics of Tetris would be perfect for Game Boy's small, black and white screen, pea soup green screen, and that its easy-to-learn gameplay would make the perfect portable time killer. I used to have a gray Game Boy, and then we gave it to my aunt when my brother and I got clear and red Game Boys. And we never found the gray Game Boy, even after my aunt passed away. When we cleaned out her house, we did not find the gray Game Boy, which I really would have liked to have. Pack-in games. Hank Rogers convinced Minoru Arakawa that Tetris needed to come packaged with the Game Boy when the system launched. If you want little boys to play your system, put Mario in the box, Hank said. But if you want everybody to play it, pack in Tetris. Hank traveled to Nintendo of America's offices to meet with Arakawa about Tetris. Can't play those. The big decision. Arakawa told Hank told Hank that if he could get the handheld rights to Tetris, then Nintendo would sub-license those rights from him to create a Game Boy version of the game. After initially attempting to go through Robert Stein's company, Andromeda, and hitting a brick wall, Hank decided to go to Moscow himself to negotiate directly with the Soviet government. The Moscow Gambit. Unbeknownst to Hank, 2 other men were also flying to Moscow to meet with Elorg about Tetris. Robert Stein wanted to lock down the rights to handheld and arcade games, and Kevin Maxwell of Maxwell Communications, which owned Mirrorsoft, had decided to go as well to see if he could license those rights directly, without involving Andromeda at all. Stranger in Moscow. Hank Rogers did not have an appointment to meet with Elorg. He didn't even know where Elorg was located. He spent a day in Moscow trying to find Go players that he might be able to befriend. The next day he hired an interpreter who was able to help him find the Elorg building. In Moscow on a tourist visa, Hank didn't have permission to enter the government office, but he did so anyway. I feel like now would be an appropriate time to close the game and open Game Boy Tetris on Switch Online. I mean, technically we haven't gotten to that point yet. That's not 1990 or 1989 was when it came out. An unexpected twist. With Nikolai Belikov, director of Elorg, met Hank in the building's lobby that day. Hank showed him the Famicom version of Tetris. After looking somewhat confused with the box, he told Hank that Elorg never licensed rights to make console games to anyone, just home computers. They agreed to meet the next day and discuss the handheld rights to Tetris. By putting together a contract that was more fair to all parties involved, Hank quickly locked down the worldwide handheld game rights to Tetris. Belikov believed Rogers up for grabs. Belikov showed Rogers the original contract that Elorg had signed with Robert Stein's company, Andromeda, which stated that it was only granting rights for Tetris on computers. Stein had interpreted this to include game consoles, but Elorg did not. A crucial mistake. Nikolai Belikov now went on to his meeting with Kevin Maxwell, who was there to attempt to negotiate the handheld and arcade rights on behalf of Maxwell Communications' subsidiary company, Mirrorsoft. Belikov showed Maxwell the Famicom version of Tetris. Since he was unaware that Mirrorsoft had licensed the home console rights and had never seen this Japanese version, Maxwell said it must be a pirated version of the game. Little sound blip there. Define computer. In his next meeting with Stein, Belikov asked him to sign a contract amendment clarifying that a computer was a device with a monitor, a disk drive, and a keyboard, things game consoles lacked. Stein signed the amendment, not realizing as he did so that this confirmed that all home console versions to this point were unauthorized. Hank Rogers and Alexei Pajitnov met for the first time during this trip. They instantly bonded over their shared love of video game design. Alexei invited Hank to his apartment to see other games that he was working on. Nintendo goes to Russia. In March of '89, Hank Rogers returned to Moscow, this time with Nintendo of America's top executives accompanying him. They worked out a deal with Elorg for the worldwide home console rights. Nintendo would create its own version of Tetris to publish around the world, everywhere except Japan, that is, where Bulletproof Software would continue to sell its Famicom version. The 2 Tetris games. After it signed the contract with Elorg, Nintendo told Tengen that it could not ship its planned NES version of Tetris, since Nintendo had the exclusive home console rights. Tengen responded by asserting that its rights were not in question, and that it would move forward with the release. The companies would end up battling it out in court. Tetris Mega Drive. In addition to its popular home arcade version of Tetris, Sega planned to release a home version for its 16-bit Mega Drive console, known as the Sega Genesis, in North America. It had manufactured hundreds of thousands of cartridges, which planned to release on April 15, 1989, but it did not release the game due to the conflict over the rights. That said, like I said, this game did eventually release on certain Sega plug-and-plays. And the ROM is readily available online as well. Cartridge safety tips. Tetris Tournament. As its various versions of Tetris continue to grow in popularity in Japan, BPS announced that it would hold a Tetris tournament on April 16, 1989, Alexei Pajitnov's birthday, at the famous Akihabara Radio Kaiken building, the epicenter of Tokyo's otaku culture. Prizes included CD players, wow, in 1989, televisions, and Tetris t-shirts. A later ad features photos and results of the competition, which featured 9 different versions of the game. Happy birthday to Mr. Alexei Pazitnov. Interesting. Oh, they were playing like the old yeah, they were playing like every version here. Leading board is what it says. Oh, Pajitnov himself was there. Is that his son? No, that's not his son. Not Pajitnov. Hank Rogers was there. Whoa. Pretty cool stuff. Re-release day. While the Famicom version of Tetris got off to a slow sales start, sales steadily increased until BPS sold out of its initial batch of cartridges. The release of the new shipment of Tetris cartridges was such a big deal that Bulletproof Software even took a magazine ad informing eager buyers that the game would be re-released on April 28th. Wow. Look at this Cowboy Bebop-ass ad. The Famicom version of Tetris continued to sell and sell, and BPS created more and more unique ads for the Japanese gaming magazines. These ads ran from June 1989 through March 1990. Oh, all the squares are in shapes of the tetramine. Oh, there's actually more. You saw that one. Ugh. Yeah, seeing the Tetris effect. Seeing Tetris and everything. Tetris a la carte. Tetris cleans up. While legal issues were taking place behind the scenes, players just couldn't get enough of Tetris. In May 1989, at the Software Publishers Association Annual Excellence in Software Awards, Spectrum Holobyte's versions of Tetris took home trophies for Best Consumer Program, Best Entertainment Program, Best Action Strategy Program, and Best Original Game Achievement. We saw that on the box earlier. Pajitnov goes to Japan. Alexei Pajitnov took his first trip to Japan in spring of '89, guided around the country by Hank. He visited Nintendo's headquarters, where he met Hiroshi Yamauchi, as well as Shigeru Miyamoto and other Nintendo designers. He even discussed with the designers how to fix a bug in the Game Boy version of Tetris. Alexei Pajitnov, Hiroshi Yamauchi, and Hank Rogers in Kyoto, Japan in the spring of 1989. That is, those windows and wood paneling aesthetic is very, very 70s, 80s. Photo gallery of Alexei's trip to Japan in 1988. They wore, yukatas. Tetris Game Boy. Nintendo released the Game Boy in Japan on April 21st, 1989. On June 14th, it released the Game Boy version of Tetris in Japan as a standalone product. In July, it released the Game Boy bundled with Tetris in the US. Both were massive hits. Tetris vastly expanded the market for Game Boy, and the Game Boy let people play Tetris for hours and upon hours without occupying the family computer or television. Magazine ad for the Game Boy version of Tetris from June 1989. Shows off the 2-player version. That kid looks very excited to be playing Tetris. I probably would be too back then. Some people say that Tetris made the Game Boy, and some people say Game Boy made Tetris. I think both are true, and that deal kind of made our companies best friends forever. Hank Rogers, Wired, 2013. Tengen's Tetris gets pulled. Tengen began selling its version of Tetris for the NES in May 1989. Did you watch the Tetris movie? No, I've seen the Gaming Historian's Tetris video, which I highly recommend to anyone looking for a very fun... I've said this a couple times this stream, but if you have not seen the Gaming Historian's video on the Tetris, on the history of Tetris, It pretty much goes over everything I'm going over here with this, but it's very, it's very good. It's very well produced. It's absolutely worth an hour of your time. Tengen began selling its version of Tetris for the NES in May of '89. On June 15th, the court found that Tengen's rights to the game were in serious question and issued a preliminary injunction stopping Tengen from selling any more copies of its Tetris game. Over 250,000 copies of the game were locked in a warehouse, where they sat for many years until ultimately being destroyed. Copies of Tengen's version of Tetris have fetched a high price in the secondary market ever since. Superpowers reach exclusive agreement. At the Summer Consumer Electronics Show that year, Nintendo ran a trade advertisement touting the NES version of Tetris that it was currently creating, and noting that it had exclusive rights to release home versions of the game. That is such an odd image. Superpowers reach exclusive agreement. Nintendo America Inc. and ELORG, the Soviet Foreign Trade Association, are proud to announce a worldwide exclusive licensing agreement to market Tetris, the exciting new home video game designed by Soviet computer whiz Alexei L. Pazitnov. No other company in the world is now nor has ever been licensed to market the Tetris home video game title. Wow, they're really playing that up, huh? We at Nintendo are proud of this first-of-its-kind licensing agreement with the Soviet Union. We're very excited about the potential of Tetris to become a major success. Tetris is surely a game with a strong appeal for the NES players of all ages. We intend to support this belief with a marketing and advertising plan guaranteed to generate high levels of awareness and even higher levels of sales. What are the asterisks? I can't read the bottom. It's too bright. Tetris NES. By November 1989, Nintendo released its version of Tetris for the NES. Backed by extensive coverage in its in-house Nintendo Power magazine and television commercials, it was a massive hit for the popular platform. This version would go on to sell over 5 million copies, and is still played today at the annual Classic Tetris World Championship. With from Russia with Fun. I think I used to have the boxes for these, and I can't remember. I know the Game Boy box looked pretty similar. I still have the cartridge for both. Weltris. Around November 1989, Alexei Pajitnov released his follow-up to Tetris. Weltris was like Tetris times 4. Rather than fall down a two-dimensional field, the pieces can now be moved around 4 walls of a well. The original version of Weltris was released for MS-DOS computers by Spectrum Holobyte, but soon made its way to other platforms. The Soviet challenge continues. Oh, it's like Tetris 3D. Alexei Pajitnov, Soviet mathematician, designer, and programmer, speaks to an American computer enthusiasts. Like how that was just a photo of some guy's copy of the game and not a pristine mint-condition scan, yeah. Dear friends, it's pleasant to know that on the other side of the ocean in America there are many admirers of my games. I would like to propose my new work for your minds. This game is even more challenging than the last. My son is 7, but he's not yet mastered it. If you like Tetris, this game will also give you many hours of pleasure. Hope the pieces will be manageable for you on the walls of the well. Main thing is to construct the square, always adding, improving, developing. This is my motto. Play Weltris. Good luck. So when you thought you had mastered Tetris, you now bring you another mind teaser. Weltris takes you to another dimension as you attempt to position shapes in a 3-dimensional perspective. Imagine looking down into a 4-sided well with grid-like walls and bottom. Rotate the falling pieces within each well. But that's just the beginning. You also move the pieces around the side walls in either clockwise or counterclockwise direction. Your best score comes from quick, accurate placement of the pieces on the bottom grid. Unlike Tetris, you'll be removing columns as well as rows in this dimensional puzzler. There are other surprises in store in Weltris, but you'll just have to see for yourself. Weltris, another name for addictive. Pieces can now be rotated around 4 walls, 3 difficulty levels each containing 5 speeds, randomly generated pieces, complex shapes, scoring system with top 10 recorded, optional mode to preview next shape, beautiful background scenes of modern Russian culture. The making of Weltris. Everyone was asking for a 3D Tetris, but Alexei wanted to do it his way. Another Soviet challenge. This advertisement from the December 1989 issues of computer gaming magazines show that while the colorful falling shapes themselves are featured more prominently in the illustrations, the Soviet challenge tagline and hammer and sickle design were still being used to convey Weltris' Russian origins. Okay, I'm very curious about this one. Weltris. Tandy and Hercules graphics. Ooh, no. Okay, no. We ain't doing that. When does Hatris come in? Oh, it's coming. Don't worry. Whoa. What's going on here? Change piece movement mode. Oh, I see. It's not just... Okay, how does this work? What? Huh? Okay, it like slides all the way down, but I'm really confused. Oh, but now I can't... Okay. Weird. Oh, this is very odd. How does this work? Okay, so if a column gets red, you can't go in it. I don't know how to actually, like, clear the pieces, though. I thought this was going to be like Virtual Boy Tetris. It is not. Not even slightly like Virtual Boy Tetris. That said, not incredibly difficult to grasp. It just requires a little trial and error to kind of get the hang of it. I'm guessing you have to clear a whole box to have it count as a line clear. Oh no, it's just a line. Okay. It's Sonic 2 with a line! Oh, weird. So there is some, like, gravity type thing here. Honestly, I don't think this is bad. I think there's something to that. Oh, look at that! You can like, combo them. Okay, it's like Yoshi's Cookie almost with how that works, where like you could combo lines like that. I again, a little confusing here, but I see what this is going for. Now I have to wonder, like, how does this... Okay, you'd still make lines that way. Alright, yep, and you get the game over if you disable movement on all 4 columns. Okay. Makes sense. It's supposed to be the last friggin' supper? No. If it gets iterated on, it could be great. Again, there's that version of Tetris for the Virtual Boy. Like, what is it, Tetris 3D? That one had something similar, where you had to fill in, like, a square at the bottom. Where it was, like, looking down into a 3D thing. Oh, you could... Okay, so the movement modes are weird. Alright. It'd be interesting to see a modern version of this. Increase level A. Change movement piece mode with L bumper. Okay, I think like one movement style is tank controls. Like you have to actually press the direction that they're going in when they move, when they change wells, and the other is like you hold one direction, it'll just keep spinning around. All right, interesting. Not really. I could see why this one isn't exactly lauded as well as other games in the series. Pajitnov Goes to America. Lexi Pajitnov visited the U.S. for the first time in January of 1990. He began at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, which left him wondering if this was a typical American city. He visited Spectrum Holobyte in San Francisco Nintendo. He visited Spectrum Holobyte in San Francisco, Nintendo in Seattle, MIT in Boston, and Hank Rogers in Hawaii. The world wanted to know who was behind the phenomenon called Tetris. In early 1990, the TV program Scientific American Frontiers traveled to Moscow to speak with Alexei, getting a look at another original game called Muddle. This eventually be released as Muddled Casino. Tetris the soundtrack. On February 21st, 1990, BPS released a soundtrack CD in Japan, featuring arranged versions of Tetris music, as well as a medley of the in-game original soundtrack. That probably goes for a pretty penny these days. Nintendo World Championships. As the NES and now Game Boy craze continued to sweep the US, Nintendo held a nationwide competition called the Nintendo World Championships, beginning in March. In 29 cities, players could test their skills on a custom Nintendo cartridge, in which they had to play portions of the games Super Mario Bros., Rad Racer, and Tetris, aiming for a high score in all the games. In March 1990, the Russian Center of San Francisco held a Tetris tournament, with the grand prize being a free trip to the USSR. Soviet Vice Consul Eugene Fokin was in attendance to witness 22-year-old programmer Kevin Warner defeat 22-year-old physicist Shane Deichmann to take the title, or Deichmann, as reported by the San Francisco Chronicle. First listing you see for that soundtrack is almost $200. Yep. Kind of what I figured. On June 17, 1990, the Los Angeles Times reported that 4 million copies of Tetris have been sold in the U.S. so far, including 150,000 from Spectrum Holobyte, 1.5 million copies of the NES version, and 2 million copies of the Game Boy version. There's Hatris. In July 1990, the next Tris game debuted. Based on a concept by Alexei and Vladimir Pokilko called Swap and Drop, Hatris challenged players to stack up colorful, oddly shaped hats that fell from the top of the screen. It was originally released on the Famicom by BPS and in Japanese arcades by Video System, and later released for the Game Boy, NES, PC-98, and PC Engine. Rather than simply advertising Hatris on its own, BPS took out an entire series of ads in Japanese gaming magazines, advertising its entire line of puzzle games, Tetris, Hatris, and a game called Pipe Dream, which it had licensed from LucasArts. These ads in various configurations ran from June 1990 all the way through March 91. The hat and the Tetris piece fusing. Pipe Dream. I know how that game plays. Weird to think that that's a LucasArts game. Wish Pipe Dream was included in this collection. I would love to play that. Really cool. Hatris Game Boy. Oh, both versions are here. In the summer of 1991, BPS released a Game Boy version of Hatris in the US and Japan. While the data on the game cartridge was the same no matter what country you lived in, the box art treatment was totally different. Japan's box had abstract hats and bright colors, while the US box had a black and white logo and realistically illustrated hats. What is it? Hatris. Hatris. Hatorisu. Catch Hatris. A July 91 magazine advertisement for the US version of Hatris on the Game Boy noted the creator of Tetris has done it again. Since NES and Game Boy did not have versions of Weltris, this was the next game in the series for console players. Hats off to Alexei Pajitnov, the creator of Tetris has done it again. The hot new video game is you frantically stacking, what else? Hordes of hats. Down they come in random pairs. Stack 5 in the same type and you score. Looks easy, but as the hats fall faster, the game gets tougher. If you like Tetris, you're going to love Hatris. It takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. So if you catch anything for your Game Boy this year, catch Hatris. Also available from Bulletproof Software Pipe Dream for the NES and Game Boy. Circle 124 on Reader's Service Card. Love that Lionfish BPS logo, yeah. That is vintage. Series of advertisements ran in June, July, and August issues of Japanese game magazines to run up to Hatris' release in Japan. Very minor details between them. Interestingly, they don't show any screenshots for the first two. So they kind of were building up suspense of what the hell this game is. Hatris and... Oh, wow, they have 3 versions of Hatris here. Took a while for the Famicom version of Hatris to come to the US, but it was eventually released in April of 1992. The NES version featured the same basic hat stacking gameplay, was significantly redesigned, with its designers Alexei Pajitnov and Vladimir Pokilko starring as helpers who would clear out hats from the board. This is the first version of the game originally released for the Famicom system in Japan. The US version would not be released until 2 years later. Turn that off. Alright, so once again, hard drop, move left, move right, A button, that's pretty much it. I've never actually played Hatris before. Oh boy. Okay. Shop? You see, that's like the height. Yeah, what a title screen. See, I thought the different sized hats meant that, Oh, well, there is, like, disconnect. Like, yeah, once that's there, you could then move the other hat around independently. Alright, I see what this game's going for. Again, this reminds me of Yoshi, which, oddly enough, Bulletproof Software did not make that game. They made Yoshi's Cookie. There's also Wetrix on the N64, but I doubt that's, Oh, you can't actually move it past occupied columns. Okay. There's some interesting, like, early puzzle game sensibilities going on here. This isn't as confusing as Weltris, I'll say that. You kind of get the grasp of this game pretty quickly. It does look like the hats take up differing amounts of space. Oops, did not mean to do that. Wasn't Yoshi Game Freak? Yes, it was. You're right, it was. It's funny because listening to the music for Yoshi now, you could tell it's Game Freak because it's the same composer. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-boo. Stage 9, B5. Hats 25. Is that how many you have to clear to win? Yeah, it is. Oh, and each stack only counts for 1, so you have to clear 25 stacks, not 25 hats. Yeah, I don't think we're making it out of. I don't think we're making this one happen. Alright, interesting. We'll check out the other 2 versions. This version for the handheld Game Boy was released in Japan and the US in '91, following the massive success of the Game Boy version of Tetris. Handheld power. What is with this bootleg Game Boy? I guess they can't technically use the Game Boy layout here if this is on multi-platform. GBL, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light. Oh, that's cool. That's neat. GB mode, GBC mode. I wonder if that makes a difference. Oh, it just changes the border. Handheld power, color. I never thought I'd say this, but I think I missed the NES version's title screen. Multiplayer mode not supported for this title. This song sounds very familiar. This sounds like the map theme to the Mario 3D Land, or World. Like, it kind of vaguely sounds like the World 1 theme. I did not, in fact, get the Tetris. Look at the high scores, the default high scores. Bulletproof software, and then... Tag yourself, I'm P. I wonder what the ideal strategy for this game is, because it's definitely... You definitely need to think it through a little bit. It's a bit more than it seems on the surface here. Because the inability to move past rows that are higher than you're currently positioned is kind of, interesting. Fuck that up. Or did I? Except now that row's closed off, so... Is it, like, even possible to get up there? I guess it is. It's not even that the game's too fast, it's just it requires, it definitely requires some extra thinking here. You gotta put on your thinking cap. Oh, you're thinking Tetris. Oh, we can't even clear that unless we know another thing's coming. Yeah, wow, you actually, if it's stacked up to the top, it's automatically gonna get hit. That's interesting. Automatically like a week from progress. Yeah, for progress. Yeah. I think I might need a little practice at this one to become good at it. Alright, oh, wrong button. Alright, let's see, let's see the NES version, real quick. New from the creator of Tetris. Remember Tetris, the way those cubes kept coming at you? Cube! That was tricky enough, but what if there were half a dozen hats instead? Derbies, baseball caps, cowboy hats, wizard hats, top hats, and crowns? Well, that's the whole idea behind Tetris. Hats keep coming at you 2 at a time. All you have to do is stack up 5 at a time, and poof, they're history. Sounds perfectly simple, until you get into it. Then you'll wish you had 6 heads instead of 1, because this latest game from Alexei Pajitnov, the director of Tetris, and his partner Vladimir Pokilko, and anyone who could turn geometry into a contact sport is forced to be reckoned with. And this time, they really want you to use your head. If you don't, you'll look pretty strange with that pile of hats on. You can play around a Tetris in 5 minutes. Trying to stop takes a lot longer. So you're getting better. How come the game keeps getting tougher and tougher? This is the final version of the game released, with different hat designs than the original Japanese version. Okay. Can we please play a Panel de Pon version of this? I mean, that would be up to Nintendo, since they own the rights to that series. Paragraph. Oh, interesting. Now the shop is on the left, and the stage is on the right. Huh. Oh, look, it's got the 2 guys in it. On that note, please revive Panel de Pon. Yes, please. Let's please get an actual new Panel de Pon game. It's the Mario 3D World 1 map theme. Oh, that was the wrong one. Yeah, whatever. I promise. We'll get out of hat hell soon. Oh, that's cruel. Give me 2 of those. Oh my god, it's 5 minutes for a round of this? Yeah, I don't think so, bud. This is kind of grueling. Yeah. I get what the game is trying to do, and I appreciate it, but man, it is a lot. It is a lot of wasted time. There's like a meter on the left that tells you which character is wearing more hats. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Cash in. Press B to exit. What? Huh? Hey! Okay. This is very silly. Yeah, Benoit. Where's our modern version of Pokemon Puzzle Challenge? Yeah. How long does this charade go on for? until I press the button. Hey, what is it? How you doing? Benoy. I got somewhere. Okay, and that's the legacy of Tetris. Did I miss something here? The dot wasn't fully filled in. Oh, I never zoomed in on this, did I? Yeah, there we go. Faces Tetris 3. What? Around August 1990, Spectrum Holobyte released its own take on Alexi's swap-and-drop concept called Faces Tetris 3. Players were challenged to complete pictures of human faces from facial parts that fell down from the top of the screen in pairs. Faces was only released for the MS-DOS, Amiga, and Macintosh computer platforms, and was not released for home gaming consoles. Ugh. Yeah, I don't think... what is up with that? What is up with this in the corner there? What is that? I don't like that. Face it, it's positively addicting. A magazine advertisement dating to July 1990 pitches Tetris and Weltris players on the appeal of faces, promising that you could build your own Frankenstein by putting Joan of Arc's nose on Napoleon's mouth. Yeah, I don't think I want to. I'm kind of glad that game's not here. So you mastered Tetris and Weltris and thought you were head and shoulders above the rest, presenting the newest challenge from the Soviet Union. Faces, Tetris 3. In Faces, you'll need to be eyes and nose above the rest to come out ahead. Ahead! You'll recognize the concept of faces soon enough. Stack the following blocks of segmented segments of the famous and not so famous in the proper order to make complete faces. Swap the pieces, flip them, and drop them into place. To rotate Shakespeare's nose or not to rotate Shakespeare's nose? That is the question. Those faces look pretty grimy in there. Is that the Joker? How much faces I'd play the SMB3 and find a Toad House. And picture this, if you will. Joan of Arc's nose with Napoleon's mouth. What a combination. Rack up the scores by making perfect or mixed faces, but remember there are no points for double chins in this game. For an unparalleled fun time, play faces in the head-to-head mode. When you create a perfect face, your opponent gets a stack of face pieces dumped onto his screen. His? What are we, gendering our opponents before we even know who they are? It's funny, it's obsessive, and you'll keep coming back for more of the soon-to-be unforgettable faces from the Soviet Union. Yeah, I don't know. Kinda glad that one's not here. How one concept from Alexei became two very different games. Yeah, I don't think we're good not watching that. Alexei moves to America. After another trip to the Consumer Electronics Show in January 1991, Alexei Pajitnov moved to America that month, signing a 3-year agreement to produce games for Hank Rogers' company, Bulletproof Software. His family followed a few months later. The USSR dissolves. The USSR was officially dissolved on December 26, 1991, a major geopolitical event with massive repercussions around the world. Under the leadership of Nikolai Belikov, Elorg was transitioned from a government office to a private company. A tough act to follow. Hey, guess I know a guy. How you doing? The world had discovered Tetris, and it would never be the same. While Tetris was now selling millions of copies across several platforms, the question remained, where would Tetris go from here? The next piece. Alright, wait a minute. So there's 2 more chapters left. And then there's also a bunch of other games. I'm assuming these last 2 chapters are going to take a while. Because there's going to be an excessive amount of games in here. Sorting by platform. Let's go by year here. So we've tried these already. We tried that. We tried that. We've played these. Did we play this one? The MS-DOS Spectrum Holobyte version? I think we did, yeah. Played Famicom, we played Weltris, Tetris. Okay. They're so we didn't play them in order because of the way these were released. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot more ahead of us still here. Again, I'm not gonna... The videos, I'm just gonna have to... I'll watch on my own time to finish this. Forgot there was lore. There's a lot of lore behind Tetris. As Tetris continues to success, game developers around the world create wildly different sequels. While Alexei Pajitnov was creating all new puzzle games like Hatris and Weltris, other game designers around the world were thinking up new ways to innovate on the gameplay of the original Tetris game. The search for Tetris 2. Hank and Alexei discussed the challenges of sequelizing Tetris, while when it comes to Tetris, less is more. Tetris 2 plus Bombless. This is probably going to be where I stop for tonight. This is going to be the last thing I do. In December 13th, 1991, Bulletproof Software released Tetris 2 plus Bombless for the Famicom, only in Japan. Created by a team of well-known Japanese game designers who were big Tetris fans, it presented a refined, polished version of the original Tetris, alongside a new variation called Bombless, in which players had to create combinations of exploding bombs to clear lines. Game designer Tsunekazu Ishihara, who later went on to become the president of the Pokemon Company, was a huge Tetris fan who had even written a strategy guide called The Solution to Scoring 100,000 Points in Tetris. Initially attempted to license Tetris for Japan, but was too late since Bulletproof Software had already done so. Ishihara is the he's the guy that shows up in all the Pokemon Day presentations now. 100K rookie numbers, but to be fair, the old games, that's not an easy score to get. Ishihara still wanted to create a Tetris game, so he put together a high-powered team, including Koichi Nakamura, the director of Dragon Quest role-playing games, Masanobu Endo, creator of the shoot-'em-up Xevious, and Koichi Sugiyama, composer of the direct Dragon Quest games music. Less said about him, the better. Bombless, which would show up in many other Tetris releases through the years, was designed by Akihiko Miura, who would go on to be the designer of the legendary role-playing game Earthbound. When Alexei Pajitnov visited Japan in the spring of 1989, he met with Ishihara, who showed him the concept. The team spent the next 2.5 years perfecting their game. Wow. There are some names attached to this game, huh? Tetris 2 plus Bombless ads. The release of a new Tetris for the Famicom was so highly anticipated that BPS began running ads for it in September of '91, months before it hit store shelves in December. The ads touted the game's new features, but also pointed out the control scheme was now identical to the Game Boy versions. Fantastic. Wonderful. Wow. Excellent. Great. Amazing. Amazing. Games, games, and more games. Tetris 2 plus Bombless. This spelled amazing, right? Why is it wrong in the first ad? Amazing. It's wrong here, too. I do enjoy me some Bombless. I'm going to be enjoying playing that. Tetris 2, Tris 2, Is 2, 2, plus Bombless. Tetris 2 plus Bombless. Well, that's a... Look at that font. I do enjoy Tetris 2 as well. Tetris 2 for the Game Boy was my shit for a while. Still advertising Pipe Dream with it, too. Why's the cool spot there from, 7-Up? Pretty cool. I love the Japanese boxes. It's up by a group of Japanese game designers including Dragon Quest director Koichi Nakamura and composer Koichi Sugiyama. Tetris 2 plus Bombless includes a refined version of the original Tetris game. It was the debut of Bombless, also known as Tetris Blast. A Tetris variant in which players clear lines by exploding bomb pieces. Okay, gonna keep that same. I think they keep the full-ass instruction manuals in Japanese. It's really cool. Two games in one. Let's play standard Tetris or Bombless. Selecting player 1 will take you to Tetris and Bombless mode selection menu. Player 2 will take you to a head-to-head match of Tetris. Tetris 2 has 3 modes. Endless mode, clear 10 lines, stage-based mode, C-type like A-type with garbage that slowly rises from the bottom as you play. Oh. In Bombless, you clear away blocks by making lines of bomb pieces. Connect bomb pieces together to create large bombs that cause bigger explosions. Tackle a series of levels with random pieces and go for a high score. Figure out how to destroy all the blocks using a specific set of pieces in puzzle mode. And in construction, build your own puzzles by laying out the blocks as in the matrix and selecting your pieces. Sounds like Tetris Plus. I think we check this out for maybe 10 minutes or so. But this might be one of the games that I actually like complete. Register your name. Eliminate name. Player is Zai. Whoa! Okay, these pieces come down very fast. Speedrun mode, yeah. This game is like interesting. It moves very quickly. Like it's the movement of the pieces is very weird. It's like so fluid looking. You're back and covered in vinegar. Hey, Karma, how long were you gone there? What happened? Were you trying to make lunch and you spilled it? I'm gonna give this mode one more try and then we'll try Bombless for like 5 minutes or so. They give you a lot of travel time on these pieces. Eating snack actually got the vinegar spilt on you. Oh. So Bombless is interesting. You can, I think you could clear individual lines, but what you have to do is you have to clear lines with the red pieces to blow up. Yeah, and then they remove certain pieces. I don't exactly know the exact physics of how this works. But I guess in this mode you just have to clear the big bombs before you run out of moves. Karma is now officially the stinky one. Ah. Oh, you have to clear the whole map, okay. And if you combine I'm assuming if you combine 4 bombs together, they mutate into, yeah, they turn into the big one. The big one. BPS. Beepus. Beepus software. Oops. Oh, this piece has 5 on it. Oh, look. Oh, these pieces are weird. Non-standard tetrominos. They're not actually tetrominos. If they're pentaminos, if they're 5. How many stages are there? Also, there's no hard dropping in this game, only soft dropping. Oh, alright, you only start with the first 3 stages, but then you unlock more as you go ahead. Interesting. Alright, well, we'll do more of that at some point. That's contest. Puzzle. There's a lot here. Ah, alright. Die, try, tetra, penta. They're pinto beans. Holy Kungadero. Ye old bomb, bless ya. Alright, that's very, panel de punish. Okay, you can just press select to exit out. Okay, cool. I'll probably do all that at some point. This, I believe, just lets you make, yeah. I know, there's also those bootleg vibes. It's also just the style, the NES style, kinda. Frog? No, Karma, it's me. Oh, it falls apart immediately. Does it at least save it? Yes, it does. Okay. Yeah, and Michael's always been a frog, I guess. I find it funny that you can't even just, like, keep the piece, like, the designs, like, floating. They just fall apart. It just, like, I'm just, like, dead. True, true, I have been frog. Alright, I'll probably do more of that one on my own, honestly. Really cool, conceptually, at least. But I think that's where we're gonna have to leave it for now. I'll probably watch the videos for these first 4 chapters. I like Bombless Best Tetris Game. Later versions are better. Look, we got a ton of versions coming up here, including a PlayStation 2 version on the on the Switch. Actually, is there a PlayStation 2 version? I don't think so. No, it only goes up to GBC. We still have Super Tetris. Super Tetris 2 plus Bombless, Tetris Battle Gaiden, Super Tetris 2 plus Bombless Genteban, Super Tetris 3, Super Bombless Famicom, Super Bombless DS, and then Tetris Time Warp at the end. So we got a bit more of this to go. I'm glad that this is gripping enough to want me to keep going with it. Tetris is the one game that's still going to be around when all others are gone. Hank Rogers. Super Michael Macaw. Yeah, that'll be soon. Play Tetris, my friends. Alexei Pajitnov. This was fun. I'm definitely going to do more of this. I'm going to come back and show off the rest of the games at some point. Probably soon. Again, didn't know most of these games even existed. Yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton of games that are released only in Japan. Just like the Puyo series. But yeah, we'll do more of this very soon. Again, sorry I wasn't here the last couple days. I just needed some more time to, like, kind of get back in the groove of things. Next week, I promise I'll be back to normal. We'll finish this collection up. I will start Metal Gear Solid 2, and then Fuga 3 in a couple weeks. And then we'll see what happens after that. Neato. Thanks, Frogbird. Thank you. Turns Michael into a Puyo slime. No, don't Puyo slime me. But, thank you so much for coming tonight. I know tonight was kind of a weird, like, rush job on my part to stream. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I'm back in the groove of it. I should hopefully feel better next week. I was going to say maybe I'll try to be here Saturday, but to be honest, I have so much I need to do this week, like, to catch up on right now, that probably might be for the best to just wait for Sunday night. So, Sunday night, I'll come back. We'll do more Tetris. And then we'll do Metal Gear Solid after that. So, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, everyone who stuck around. Thanks for dealing with me being gone for a week and not knowing how to stream when I returned. If you want to watch more streams, stick around. I'm going to raid. It has been nice hanging. Thank you, Gyro. I'm going to raid Eclipse Protocol. They're playing Clair Obscur, which I've been told is an extremely good game. And if I wasn't already swamped with other stuff coming up, I might consider playing it. But stick around. Say hi to Eclipse Protocol for me. Long time no play, and I missed you. I missed you too, Karma. You know I'm always around on Discord. Sort of, if I can be. Anyway, take care. I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Have a good night, everyone. I need to get some rest and drink some water.
Glue.